Welcome to Potion Sword Run. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Xbox because why not? They deserve to be talked about the way they've been acting. Come on, Xbox. The more you hear about how Xbox has been acting recently, how their executives have been acting recently, and as an Xbox fan, it just makes you feel like dirty, it makes you feel ashamed that you even support people like that. A corporation, Microsoft, the way they treat people, like not people, and like we just buy their products. Like, here you go, here, have my money, and it sucks as an Xbox fan. You hear about Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, Matt Booty going to all these studios praising the games that they're developing, saying that yes, what they're doing is awesome, and then 6 months later shutting them down. Not just one studio, like about 3 or 4. It just keeps on going. People just keep on talking. It's like, how do you trust? Where's the trust? Like, you can't. There's no trust there. And how can any other person that deals with them trust what they say? Now, it's either they are untrustworthy, they're liars, or they have no power, which means Xbox, whatever they say, has no power. It doesn't matter. It can just flip flop one day after the other, which is no way to run a business when there's people out there who depend on their word, not just developers, but customers as well. There's been reports that it was actually the CFO, Amy something, I forgot her name, that had these expectations set on a bunch of different departments within Microsoft, primarily like within Xbox, which were undeliverable. And now that they see that they're not deliverable, they had to slash jobs and everything. So it's just like, even if Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, and Matt Booty wanted to do anything positive, they can't. So it's like, what's the point? If there's a new shakeup, I think it's already too late. I really do. I think it's like, they're moving into third-party publishing. They having other manufacturers make consoles for them, which is fine with me. I thought that was great because, let the experts make the hardware and let Xbox provide the software and just, call it an Xbox this and that's that. But now I see it as Microsoft is trying to clean themselves from the gaming. That's what I see it now. Like, the way they're treating the Xbox game studios, just cutting them. Cutting them. Like the Forza Motorsport studio, Turn 10, 50% slash from Motorsports. If it wasn't for them, like, Forza Horizon wouldn't be a thing. It was like a straight off spin off from them, And now that it's become bigger than that, I understand it, but it's like using them as a support team for not just Horizon, but for whatever else. And for now that we know, it's like, how do you just cut 50%, man? Have them make a freaking Mario Kart racing type of game, with Banjo-Kazooie. I'm sure they thought of that. I'm sure someone in that, and within Xbox thought of that. But knowing that they can't do it because of Microsoft, because of the executives that they have, and how they don't care about the product. Not really. They don't care about the talent, really. That's why all the talented people leave. That's why the original makers of Xbox left. Jay Allard, boom, gone. Oh my God, I can't even think of their names right now, but they're all gone. Because they see that Microsoft doesn't really care about making innovative things anymore. All they care about is, the bottom line. I guess that's how they've always been. But, with the Xbox, it seemed like they were willing to start having a creative side, innovative side, like taking risks and stuff, like Apple did, It kind of seemed like they wanted to compete, but now, like, they're into like all the cloud shit. They're into all that war shit, providing weapons for mass destruction shit. And then that angle too, it's like me buying Microsoft stuff, Xbox stuff, it's like me providing money for war, for genocide. So I mean, they just have a lot of things that aren't going for them right now. And it's all the executives who vote for this stuff. It isn't the ones that are creating all these products. It isn't the, the designers who make these products. It isn't the programmers who are making the video games. It's the executives who are using, I guess, their workforce for just evil. And I understand they're a corporation and their whole main thing is to make profit, but man, not a profit at any means, They're also humans, or I mean, not corporations, but people behind them, or at least we thought they were. This is just more than video games. It's more than just canceling games. It's more than just being stingy with money. It's the way they treat people. And they have disdain for people, for their customers, for the people that work for them, for people that they don't know, dropping bombs and shit. So I've been thinking a lot, like, what am I gonna do for my next gen console? Like, when this gen was a freaking total cluster F, man. When it comes to not just Xbox, but PlayStation as well, and like where they deal with the live service games and how many games they canceled and all that stuff, and Bungie's like all that shit. It's just a total freaking mess. Like, they totally lost the plot this generation. And even Nintendo launching the way they deal with the Switch 2, it's like, come on, man. Like, the Switch 1, freaking awesome, Nintendo, awesome. But they seen the way that Microsoft and Nintendo and Sony were acting, like, oh, let's just follow suit. So I've been thinking, like, what am I gonna do? And like, I don't want to get a freaking PC. I have to deal with drivers and freaking graphic cards and sound cards and all that shit. Like, working on PC sucks, man. Just, it really does. I don't just want a handheld. I just really don't know. And I look at to next gen gaming and you think, like, how better are graphics gonna get either way? Like, if they make I'm sure they're gonna make a next gen console, supposedly. Xbox says they are, but you can't even believe what they're saying. PlayStation is gonna make one, but I mean, given what they did this generation with the PlayStation 5, it's like, God, do I even want to get a PlayStation 6 and roll the dice with that shit? I still want to play video games. I like video games, but I guess I just won't play like I don't know the next gen games until something awesome comes out. I guess that's what I'm gonna be doing. Just wait and see. I'm like a gamer without a home. It looks like I'm gonna be a refugee soon. And I mean, it's not like I have all consoles, so it's not like I just play Xbox, but I just felt always at home with Xbox. I like their interface. Jan Ong, a longtime subscriber, he asked me, why do I like Xbox so much if I criticize Microsoft so much? And I told him, when Xbox first came into the scene, like, they were the dark horse. They were the rebel. They thought outside the box. And they took risks. And I loved them for that. But then, along the way, after the 360, they lost their way. And it's always been a struggle for me then, after that. It's like a love-hate relationship with them, because it's like nostalgia of what they used to be, and like that kind of, that little bit kind of still holds in, like I still think that it's there somewhere, but the more I see of them, the more I see that that part of Xbox is pretty much gone. Not just gone with the original founders, but even when the 360 was out, like, you can feel the passion. And I thought with just recently with the Series X, midway through, like, I can feel that passion coming back. And then I thought with the new CEO who gave them the green light to like buy studios and stuff, I thought, hey, they're gonna invest in Xbox. Like, finally, again, it's back. But now seeing that it was all just a farce, like, it was just like they didn't give it time, pretty much, Even given all the money, even though Xbox is in the profits, even though Microsoft is in the profits, it's like being beholden to like shareholders who think only in the now and want profit now. Like Xbox is just in no position to thrive when it comes to being a place where creativity thrives, where innovation thrives, and risk taking thrives. Because one thing that I know, that we all should know, is that shareholders don't like taking huge risks. They want a sure thing, and that's why they're short thinking with their investments, and they just want their, profits on investments like now. And that's why every quarter they need to grow. I know this episode's been all over the place, but it's just that I'm lost at the moment as an Xbox fan. I really am. I just don't like the way they're treating people at all. Not giving them notices, locking them out of their accounts. Like the public finding out when they find out. It's like, have some freaking respect for these people. You guys know what you're gonna do. I've worked in corporate settings before. I've talked to, CEOs and VPs, and the list goes on. And like, you decide before we let everybody else know what's gonna happen. But these people don't. It's like they just make it like, oh, it's just normal now just to treat people the way they do. And then they want to rehire them as contract workers where they have no benefits, where they pay them less and they make them work more. How embarrassing is that? And supposedly there's reports out there that they're doing this because they're investing heavily in AI and AI agents who can probably do some of the job that they did to some degree. And I understand, companies and corporations are going to try to use AI because they want to save a buck or two. But I don't even think that should be rewarded. Not in the video game industry. Not when you're taking away jobs for artists and stuff like that. Not when you're using them to program games. And, an AI just lacks a soul, man. Microsoft is lacking soul. One thing about being human is you have to have a soul. That's the whole point, right? That's what's going on here. Microsoft has made a deal with the devil. They have no soul. Recently, I've been thinking about getting a steering wheel so I can create like a rig, like a nice rig for sim racing, and also a fighting stick. And I think I'm just gonna go PlayStation. Microsoft makes it easy. Xbox made it easy with Game Pass to pretty much cut your losses. If I wanted to leave the Xbox ecosystem, it would be easy because ever since 360 came out, I've been buying my games digitally, and I've been using Game Pass as long as it came out. And after Game Pass, I stopped buying their first party games digitally. So if I leave, I leave a good chunk of Xbox behind as well. I still have some games that I own, obviously, and I can always go back to my Xbox if I want to play those games. But it isn't like I have a big old chunk of Xbox games on my shelf. A big old chunk of first party games, Xbox games that I own. So it'll just be like back in the days when you got a new console, when you upgraded from the Nintendo 64 to from the Super Nintendo, or from a Sega to a PlayStation, and you left your console behind with the games. And if you ever wanted to go back and play, you just played with that console. But it looks like I'm going back to the old days and just starting somewhere fresh. That's what it looks like I'm going to do for next gen. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to buy the Xbox if they even release it. I was thinking just, might as well buy it one more generation and keep on going the web and going, buy a PlayStation and whatever. Get a Switch when it's cheaper, when it has games. But now, I'm really thinking that just because of the way they treat people, I can't stand for that. I'm gonna leave it right there. I caught you guys on the next one. Remember, always be kind to yourself and enjoy your life. And I'll meet you right there. Peace.